My social media friends, Facebook and Instagram and everybody else, everywhere else this will be posted. So, number one, Merry Christmas Eve. Happy holidays to you all. And normally I don't say Merry Christmas because some people don't celebrate Christmas. They celebrate solstice or Kwanzaa or um, Hanukkah. But it is Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas. And, you know, that's the main thing. I'm going to make this short today. I just really want to really just say I love you all and really want to encourage us all, including myself, to just ramp up the peace this season. It just occurred to me today that there's so much fear in the world today, around this pandemic. And guess what? I mean, I know that virtually all of the people that will be viewing this, because if you're my friends or followers, then I know that you have peace in your heart, and I know that you understand that our consciousness has a profound effect on what we experience in life. So if we're walking around with fear individually and collectively, guess what's happening? We're drawing more things to be fearful. So, the word that always comes to me in situations like this is trust. And trust leads to peace. So perhaps I wasn't really planning this out. Let's do a meditation. Let's close our eyes, take a nice deep healing breath. Let out a big heartful sigh. And just sink into our hearts. And you know what I find anytime I get still and really encourage people to either start a meditation practice or to ramp up your meditation practice at this time in our history, because there's no better way to go into peace. When I just get still, what happens is peace comes flooding it, love comes flooding it, light comes flooding it. And all of these qualities are the truth of who we are. The world around us is an illusion based on our perceptions. We know this from quantum physics. That what we experience what we see is not what's real. In fact, a philosopher once said, if you can see it, don't believe it. So taking this even deeper, let's dissolve our personal bias, our belief about what is, into the infinite truth, into the undying, infinite, light, unconditional love, expansive peace, spiritual power that we truly are. I'm just going to let us have a moment of silence to really, really go deep into this. Not just play with these words, but to go deep into the feeling, into the experience, the qualities of spirit, the energy, the vibration of infinite peace. I'm going to ask this question, invite you to ask this question of infinite peace. Infinite peace and love. What do you say about the pandemic, about the virus, about where we are in our evolution as a species and a planet? Give you a moment to receive your answer. Infinite peace and love. What do you say about this worldwide pandemic and how to move through it gracefully? Words I'm receiving is that everything's going to be okay. I know. I'm going to open my eyes now and maybe taking us into a little bit of dialogue from this meditation, this short meditation. You know what I mean? We could come up with lots of arguments, but people are dying. But the ICUs are full. What if I get COVID and I die from it. You know, there's an exercise that if you have a fear, you ask, well, if that happens, what else would happen? And if that happens, what will happen? And if that happens, what will happen? And what ultimately it comes down to is that I will either die or I will cease to exist in some way. And so at the bottom of every fear is our loss of personal identification. It's interesting. In meditation sometimes, when people get to, and this is kind of, so it says, I see it's paused. My video just paused. Now it's going again. And so in deep meditation, when people really are on the verge of getting that place of complete immersion in bliss and peace and love, is oftentimes a fear comes up because it feels like we're dying. When that loss of personal identification kicks in, it feels similar to death. I no longer exist. And once we get past that fear, what happens is we get to experience, words cannot possibly define the ecstasy that comes. Ecstasy doesn't even define it. It's there is not a word. It's imagine peace and pure unconditional love and ecstatic mystical experience all rolled into one and multiplied 1 billion times. That's what happens when we get beyond thought, beyond personal identification, and just dissolve into oneness, dissolve into the one. And so that's a metaphor for everything in life. As soon as we get beyond the fear, and I'm not saying to deny our fear, express it. Repression does not work. So if you're feeling fear, express it. But once you get it out, then bring in the light and the love and dissolve into it. Because once we get beyond that fearful barrier, beyond the reptilian brain doing its thing, and into higher levels of consciousness, what we experience is everything is okay. Even if I die, everything's going to be okay. Every one of us our physical existence is going to end at some point, and we're all going to be okay. So I guess the question that comes up for me in this is for the time that I have left in physical expression on this planet, is do I want to spend that time, whether it be years, decades, hours, minutes, because it could all end in a nanosecond. I mean, look at all of the billions of stars and planets in the infinite universe, and there's only one that we know of for sure. There's got to be others, but there's only one that we know of for sure that has human life, that has any life that we know of. And so this is an anomaly, it would appear. And it could happen in one starburst, right? That everything dissolves on this planet. Everything's gone. So do I want to live whatever time I have in physical existence in fear or in trust? In fear or in love? In fear or in dancing with wildness? We have a cousin who just passed away in the last week, 8 days ago. And, my wife said, and it just comes up every time that someone leaves this physical plane, is, what's the message in this? It's to live life fully. So that's my holiday message for you today, is even if it's only incremental, that we let go of some degree of fear and let in some higher degree of trust. How about we do that together? And the more that we can do it collectively, then the faster that the situation of what there is to be fearful will turn around. I am certain of it. And I have a feeling that you are too as you receive these words. And one way we can do this, if you want to join us, New Year's Eve, we are doing our shamanic intention setting ceremony, which is probably the most powerful ceremony I have ever done or even known of. And I guess I've done most of what I've known. And so we are going to be focusing on what we're grateful for from the last year. And we're going to focus on letting go of what no longer serves us, including fear, and embracing and setting intentions for this new year. How do we want to move through this next year, through the ending, through the rest of the pandemic, the ending of the pandemic, and moving into beyond that. And then finally, what our intentions are for the new year, and then finally our prayers for the world. So if you want to join us, been posting the link to Eventbrite on my Facebook page, and we'll get it on Instagram and the other social media soon as well. That's New Year's Eve, 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you'll come join us. Bring a drum if you have it. All right. We love you. Have a great holiday. And live video.